Hi, it's Nero here, buyer's agent and founder of Investment Rise. And today's episode is all about, is the government about to add fuel to the regional property boom? Now, why do I say that? Well, the federal government had in place the policy to allow regional first home buyer grants. Now, how are they supposed to work? Well, if you could come up with a 5% deposit on your property, then the government would insure the other 15% and essentially guarantee that 15%, okay? So therefore, you could go to a bank with a so-called 20% deposit, even though you're only providing 5%, okay? Now, this was supposed to do a few things. Number one, it allows people to get into the property market faster because they only need to come up with a 5% deposit as long as they meet certain criteria. That's the first thing. Secondly, if you go to a bank, and these days, even with interest rates rising, if you go for a bank loan at 90% versus 80%, the first thing is that most banks give you a higher interest rate if you want a loan at 90% versus 80%. Plus, you need to pay thousands of dollars in loan mortgage insurance depending on what your purchase price is, okay? But now, with this federal government scheme, you don't have to worry about that. You come up with your 5% deposit, no loan mortgage insurance, you can potentially still get a loan at a similar interest to what everyone else is who's saving 20% deposit, and you're in, okay? And the whole thing here is then that we can have more and more people enter the property market in regional areas. But here's the question you got to ask yourself. This scheme was supposed to come into force from the 1st of January next year. But as I record this in the middle of October, the scheme's already in force. It was brought forward and started from the 1st of October. Now, why is that happening? Okay, well, the first thing is that right now in many regional areas, rentability is so difficult for tenants. And what I mean by that is it's really good if you're an investor, because in many areas it's very easy to get a tenant because there's an excess of tenants compared to available properties in many areas, and you can get a really good rental return, okay? But if you're a tenant, then it's not so good, right? Because it's a struggle to get a property. You either have to pay more in rent or you've got to move further away. All right. And so as a result, the government has brought forward this scheme to begin now. However, what do you think that's going to do to property prices? Okay. Because here we now have all these people who potentially couldn't afford a property before, or even chose not to buy in certain markets for whatever reason, are now able to buy property. Well, that's going to increase demand. But here's the thing. If you look through the fine print in the policy, it's not just people who are living in the area who are eligible. You just need to perhaps not be living in a capital city. So now, for example, you might be living in, say, a larger regional area, say Newcastle or Central Coast, for argument's sake. And now you decide, well, you want to go to a cheaper area where you can still get that good lifestyle. Well, now you can afford to move into those areas, especially if you qualify, right? So you're going to have a lot more demand being brought forward into these markets, okay? And with no real increase in supply, and I've spoken about this in the past, because we're seeing more and more builders going broke constantly. We're seeing construction costs rising, and it's really now unaffordable for many builders to go in and build properties in these regional markets. So when you've got supply essentially not increasing, and they were already low, and now you've got demand increasing, what do you think that's going to do to property prices, right? And remember, as much as we've seen the Sydney and Melbourne, maybe Canberra markets slow down, many regional markets have continued to grow in value. Sure, they may not have had the massive growth they had in 2021, but they've still been growing in 2022. You're going to see demand continue to increase in regional areas, and I think it's going to only increase prices. But here's the thing. Do you think the government's not aware of this? Right? Well, recently the Productivity Commission did a review of first homeowner grants. Now, what is the Productivity Commission? Well, if you go to their website and have a look, they say that their role is to provide independent research and advice to government on economic, social, and environmental issues affecting the welfare of Australians. Okay, that is their mandate. Now, they came out recently and actually said that first homeowner grants actually increase prices. The Productivity Commission says stamp duty concessions and first home buyer grants, on which state and territory governments last year alone spent $2.7 billion, can push up dwelling prices and should be wound back because they take away money needed to prevent people falling into homelessness. So this independent body that's been set up to advise the government is actually saying that if you have any kind of incentive that helps people buy property, it's going to force prices up. It's not going to improve affordability. Okay, so the government's got this, they're aware of this, and yet they didn't just introduce a scheme, they brought it forwards from the 1st of January to the 1st of October, okay, to stimulate demand. Now, why would they do this? Well, because in the short term, I think they're playing politics, okay? Yes, some people who can't afford their own home are going to be able to jump in and get their own home as a result of these schemes. But in the long term, affordability is not going to get better, it's going to get worse, okay? But as a property investor, what does it mean? It means that some of these markets are about to really continue their already strong growth phase, and you're going to see a longer phase of growth. And so I'm really excited as an investor. I am not commenting from a social perspective, from an affordability perspective for first home buyers, no, but as an investor, especially if you're someone who doesn't want to spend, $1 million plus to buy in your Sydney and Melbournes and Canberra, and you want to buy good quality properties in good locations that are under $600,000, for example, with really good rental returns, then I think some of these regional areas are about to pop again, and it's going to be because of the incentives that the government has provided. Now, look, they're not going to say that it was their scheme that caused prices to rise. No, they're going to tout how many extra people are able to buy their own home and who took advantage of the scheme that perhaps couldn't do so. That's what they're doing, okay? But if you are listening to me or watching me as a property investor, you need to look for these things, say, okay, well, where are the opportunities, all right? And the bringing forward of the regional first homeowner grant, I believe, is really going to add fuel to the property boom, not in all, but in many regional locations. And that's something that as a property investor, you can take advantage of.
Hi, it's Nero here again, and thanks so much for watching. If you like what you saw and you're looking for a proven recipe, a blueprint on how to build a property portfolio that gives you passive income, then click the link below this video and get a copy of my book, Wake Up Wealthier, How to Build a Property Portfolio that pays you an income each and every month. Okay, when you click the link and you download your book, you can get both the digital version and the audio version in case you don't like reading. All right, so I used to sell this book for $49, but right now I'm making it totally free. Why? Because I want more people to get this information, and I know that a segment of you will then like what you see in the book and choose to reach out to find out more about our services. But even if you don't, if you're serious about building a property portfolio that pays your passive income, then you really want to get my book, Wake Up Wealthier. It contains the secrets that I have fine-tuned over the last 19 years. It's totally free for a limited time. Click the link below.